I've mentioned it earlier also that restaurants and hotel industry is very glamorous. So it looks very glittery from outside, but what it takes to create that glamour is a dirty job. But for us, it is very unfortunate that people do not value the intangible service that we are providing, and I would say 70-75% of the time people start taking us for granted. एंड दैट इज वेयर द डिजास्टर स्टार्ट्स हैपनिंग कि मेरे फूफा के चाची के जीजा जी ने हमको ये कहा है, उनका एक रेस्टोरेंट है टिम्बकटू में, तो ये करो आप। तो अभी उसको मैं क्या आंसर दूं?
So hello people, this is Siddhiraj and today's guest of ours, you know him already because he is someone who was in our first episode. Today we have again Prasad Gunbote to talk about consultancy business in hospitality industry. How does it work? वो कैसे काम करता है, क्या होता है? Consultancy सिर्फ ज्ञान पेलना नहीं होता, क्यों? वो आज हमें बताएंगे. So hi.
Hi Siddhi, how are you?
Yeah, I'm all
Long
good.
time.
Yeah, no, I won't say long time. Okay, so yeah, we'll jump into the topic. So first, we know like people who actually take it. You and I both know, and some of the people who we have in common right now both know that. Like they say, hotel industry is very glamorous. If किसी का hotel है तो बड़ा आदमी and all of. But at the same time, Kunal had told me that the people shit bricks behind the scenes. Okay, that is one thing. So, and a lot goes on behind. We both know that. So, in this, there is also consultancy and all of that. We'll talk about this as well. कि hotel industry में कैसा होता है, क्या होता है. That is one thing. But there is a thing consultancy. So, consultancy hotel industry में या फिर hospitality industry में actually क्या होती है, role क्या होता है, वो बताइए. शुरुआत कीजिए.
So, hi guys, I'm Prasad. I own a company by the name J216 Hospitality Services, which is a turnkey solution for anybody who wants to start a restaurant. When I say turnkey,
Anybody who has money.
and yeah, that is a given. बिना पैसे के तो कुछ भी नहीं होगा. So basically, anyone who is wanting to enter the restaurants or resorts or hotels business can approach us, and we would help them, handhold them in each and every aspect of the project establishment, and also guide them after the project has been established. So our work starts right from understanding what the requirement is of a client. There are a lot of times that people come, 1 करोड़ में मेरे को बानेर में रेस्टोरेंट खोलना है, क्या खोलना है बताओ. सो आवर जर्नी स्टार्ट्स फ्रॉम राइट देयर, दैट क्या करना है वहाँ से. और देर आर लॉट ऑफ पीपल हु कम इन दैट आई हैड बीन टू दिस such and such place, and I am wanting to open a place like that, something similar to that, or conceptually something like that. And then we help them fine tune the concept, majorly fine tuning it to the area and the vicinity which is around, and making it more sellable to that particular audience. कि लास्ट वेगास में एक आपने कॉन्सेप्ट देखा हुआ है, वो आपको पूना में करना है और आप कहते हो कि मुझे वो हड़पसर में बनाना है, तो वो थोड़ा सा जस्टिफाई नहीं हो पाएगा. तो वो कहाँ पे चल पाएगा, कहाँ पे वो एस्टैब्लिश कर सकेंगे. एंड उसके लिए ऑडियंस, आप प्रोडक्ट तो बनाओगे लेकिन वो खरीदने के लिए भी ऑडियंस चाहिए. तो उस क्वांटम में अवेलेबल है क्या या नहीं है. सो ऑल दोज एनालिसिस एंड फाइन ट्यूनिंग ऑफ द एंटायर आइडिया, फ्रॉम देयर आवर जर्नी स्टार्ट्स.
To deciding the density of glass in the hotel as well.
Exactly.
So then how does when if any client wants to bring in कि मुझे consultancy के साथ जाना है, तभी consultancy साथ में आएगी.
Yes.
Okay, so
basically we are doctors of the restaurants business.
You can say that.
Right from the birth, when you are planning your family, you go to a gynec.
Yeah.
So कैसे करना है,
Okay.
से लेके वो होने तक, और उसके बाद आपको जिंदगी भर डॉक्टर की जरूरत
पढ़ सकती
पढ़
है.
सकती है.
Yeah.
So we are doctors of the restaurants and hotel industry. In short, in layman's language.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So who are these people who work in this or like hospitality? Sorry, consultants.
So in consultancy, it is as good as running a restaurant in itself.
Okay.
Like we have our own chefs, we have our operations managers,
Okay.
we have project managers, we
Okay.
have a lot of small time frame constraint consultants coming on board for that particular concept,
Freelancers.
freelancers, all those things. Then we have a branding and marketing ideator, we have a design expert, we have interior guys, we have the architects. Then there are a lot of vendors who are associated to,
Okay.
the list goes on and on.
Okay.
But if you precisely ask me, there would be about 6 to 7 people who are the core team of the company,
The building blocks, right?
the building blocks basically. And then there are offshoots of those particular departments that they take care of. It's like that.
So who are these building blocks, by the way?
So as I mentioned, so I'm one of them who would be majorly involved in all the aspects. Then I have my helping hands, like somebody is in the operations,
Okay.
who is much more expert than me in terms of your setting up the operations. Then there is a cultural manager who sets up the culture of that particular restaurant. There is training and development. There is recruitment expert. There is the kitchen team, like the executive chef is there. Then we have the HR. Then we have
HR for hiring or policy making or
HR for hiring basically. So somebody who does the resource management for us.
Okay.
Because restaurant industry or the hospitality industry, if I say, is the most highly so the attrition rate is very high in the restaurant industry.
please explain attrition
So
rate.
attrition is the percentage of people coming and going in that particular organization. People leaving the job from one organization to another
Switching.
is very high because of the fact that people, if the organization is not taking care of their employees well, then it is very easy for them to switch on from that particular organization to another in just mere 500 to 1000 rupees. It's that bad today in the market. So if the organization is taking good care of the employees, then there is a different aspect altogether. वो पुराने ज़माने के जैसा नहीं रहा कि एक जो बंदा who joins in as a trainee waiter, then becomes a waiter, then a trainee captain, senior captain, and eventually he is working as a general manager.
It happens today.
It happens, but very, as I said, the percentage has reduced drastically.
Why?
The opportunities that have come up in abundance in terms of, earlier there was like, say, one person, and so let's say there are 10 candidates. The jobs were only 5.
Okay, yeah, because the hospitality
Now-
industry wasn't developed that
Exactly.
much. Okay.
And now there are 100 opportunities and the capable candidates are only 50. So then जो मिल रहा है उससे काम चला के उनको train करके, so as a consultant our role has become more and more difficult and challenging because we have to keep on continuously upgrading the knowledge
Yeah.
and the talent of the candidates, because we get a lot of raw talent which we have to tune in to what that project
Polish them.
needs, polish it, and then deploy them. So that portion or that part of the consulting aspect, that vertical, has got in big importance in these days of late,
Sourcing
because of
employees,
the
right?
sourcing employees or sourcing skilled laborers basically has become very challenging because of the non-availability of the staff and the opportunities that have come up immensely because of lot of restaurant mushrooming. Every month you'll find 4 or 5 restaurants coming up, so you can analyze the kind of opportunities these people have.
The supply is low and the demand is more.
Yeah.
But how did you start the consultancy? And with whom
So
did you start that?
I started my consultancy. Now it's almost now
9 years.
I would complete a decade in another year's time.
Okay.
9-10 years now. So I was working in the fitness industry, as my earlier record says,
Yeah.
and
An earlier episode says it.
earlier episode says, and at that time it was not that oh एक कहावत है कि हथियार डाल दिए लेकिन चलाना नहीं भूले. So I had switched to the fitness industry, but I had not left the restaurants business.
Yeah.
So I used to help my friends who were still involved in the restaurant business, and that is where I got understanding that yes, there is a gap where I can definitely come in and help set up people who don't have the subject knowledge. And with God's grace, what has happened that since the beginning I was more into project executions, even when I was in fitness industry or in the restaurants business. I was always into setting up something new, making it work, and then move on. So that was a good thought that I started. It started just as a help to somebody, and then it clicked as an opportunity, and that is how the consultancy business started.
started
But
with Kunal,
professionally, if you ask me, when I established my company and got it streamlined. Otherwise, earlier it was like one single person operating everything.
Okay.
And
When did you do that?
so that happened in 2015, if I vaguely remember. From there, I started establishing my
With Kunal?
firm. No, Kunal came in a bit later.
Okay.
So I started by myself. I started as a consultant with Kunal also, as I had mentioned earlier also.
Yeah.
So that was a big breakthrough for me in the consultancy business, because Kunal's company had multiple brands and multiple outlets. So for me as a consultant to handle one group of hotels which had multiple ventures and multiple formats was a very good learning as a consultant itself. So yes, I was a part as a consultant, but I also learned a lot of things in that entire process of being a consultant also.
Yeah.
So consulting is always an ongoing process. It's like consultant precisely is like a doctor. Doctors have to keep on improving the knowledge base, learn new things as and when the technology and the new things are coming in the market. So we are also in the same space. Simple.
Yeah. You share the same boat, kind of a thing.
Sort of. But for the restaurants.
But what are the misconceptions people have about both consultancy and hospitality industry?
Hospitality.
First is like everyone knows इसका hotel है.
हाँ, so see, pardon my words, but not dirty, but it takes a lot of effort, and people don't realize that before entering into the restaurant industry.
Yeah.
So at times people ambitiously or rather over ambitiously just open up something without knowing anything, and that is where the disaster happens. And that is the time people think about people like us,
डॉक्टर
doctor
के पास
के पास जाना है, rather than starting it beforehand. So we have also consciously being taking efforts from our side that before somebody is starting, and if we come to know about such and such project, then we ourselves approach them that do you need consultancy services? And that is how we have also started going out rather than waiting for people to come through references.
Okay.
That's how
That
it
is
has
also
been
a good
working.
thing. More misconceptions.
So about misconceptions, people usually think कि अरे ये तो आया ज्ञान पेल के चला गया.
In
So
consultancy.
in consultancy, people think it's only just sharing the knowledge and
Sharing stats.
yeah, and it's so simple. And why is it a consultant? But they don't understand that the consultant has earned that knowledge after working in the industry for such a long period of time.
Yeah.
It's as simple as आपके पास choice है, आप सुपर स्पेशलिस्ट के पास जाओ या फिर सरकारी अस्पताल में जाओ. आपका 50 रुपए में भी काम हो सकता है और सुपर स्पेशलिस्ट के पास
500 रुपए में
5,000 रुपए लेगा.
Okay.
सो ये आपका चॉइस है कि आप कहाँ पे जा रहे हो और उसका अहमियत क्या है वो आप डिसाइड, बिकॉज इट्स अ वेरी इंटेंजिबल सर्विस.
Yeah.
That is the most unfortunate part of the business that we are in, that if you are paying me 500 rupees and if I give you something as a tangible product,
Huh. Then you
it
think
is
that is worth it.
justifiable.
Yeah.
But for us it is very unfortunate that people do not value the intangible service that we are providing, and most of the times once the thing starts rolling, I would say 70-75% of the time people start taking us for granted, and that is where the disaster starts happening. And it has been time and again proven with my own experience that every single project which has been discontinued for some or the other reason from the client's side has again come back to us after a period of time when they have met with an accident.
Story.
Story time. So there was a big project in Balewadi that we had established a couple of years back.
Yeah.
During the process, while establishing, it was a very big project. It's still there. But then what we had established back then, the 3 different concepts, was for a reason.
Achha.
We had analyzed the entire requirement of the market.
Okay.
We had, shortlisted concepts which would give them revenues in a couple of years. And then they would start making big profits after that.
Okay.
But it is always that, whether you trust that or not is what is going to make that concept work or not. So we established all those things, and at a point, there was a point where, there are a lot of expert opinions that started coming in.
Like from
So
client got in on
from
their ears?
client, getting expert opinions from people who are not even related to the
I
entire
don't even
business.
know how to wash dishes.
Exactly. So, then when that starts happening, that if you are teaching a doctor how to operate, then might as well you don't take the doctor.
Okay.
You won't need the doctor if you know how to operate. So that when we have always made a conscious effort that when that position comes where we reach a situation where there is a lack of trust, that is where we step back. And that is what has happened. After 2 years of span, it is a big question mark in front of them that what to do now. Because they completely changed the entire concept.
The pivoted.
They completely changed it to, so there were 3 different concepts that we had made, which would sustain them, have 3 different target audiences, and which would become something like a hub in itself. So that in the future, they don't need to focus on getting more and more clients, because
they're catering all sorts of clients.
Okay. So they did not think over it.
Yeah.
It was a very immature change in the entire setup, and now it's the history. So these are the typical things that keep on happening.
Okay.
Of course, client has their own reasons always, why this and why that. So where we have to justify our knowledge, we don't go ahead.
Okay.
You had come to us after checking our reputations and after analyzing the other options in the market.
Yeah.
And then you realize that, okay, fine, there are no professionals who are doing it so well with a successful track record of a decade after establishing 30-35 restaurants and clubs. Then you approach us and then we sign a deal. You have done your homework and then come to us. We did not point a gun on your forehead and then ask you to sign the deal, right? So, that is where people don't understand. And the point where there is a lack of trust happening or lack of, so where we have to justify what we are doing, that is where we stop and we hand it over. Simple. So we leave any association with a very positive note. because we know what
it can get hard or like
no,
anything
it
like
won't get. There is no point in arguing with somebody who is not wanting to understand, or there is no point in justifying something for what they have hired you for. Means if you're going to a garage, your tire is punctured.
तो उसको ही बोल रहा है कि भाई ये टायर ऐसे लगा कर
नहीं, ये टायर ऐसे नहीं, ये पंक्चर ऐसे निकल और इसमें ये लगा और मैं करता हूँ, तो फिर भाई तू पंक्चर वाले के पास आया ही क्यों ना, खुद लगा लेते. It's like that. So that it's human nature, I would say that, and lack of professional people in the business.
Okay.
If you see the entire dynamics, people who have money are somewhere, I personally feel, are unable to give that respect to the services that they are buying.
Okay.
So for us, it usually we get into that space where so I don't want to sound very harsh or
no, but it is truth.
The truth is money can't buy you class.
Yeah.
It's like that. So we stop it there. Like, okay, fine, you are happy with what you're doing, very well, no problem. Let's conclude it here. Let's terminate the contract, and we.
आप अपने रास्ते,
आप अपने रास्ते, हम हमारे रास्ते. आप मेरे रेस्टोरेंट में आओ, मैं आपके रेस्टोरेंट में आऊँगा as a guest. आप मेरे. Let's conclude it, end it on a very good note, because let's agree to disagree. That is what we conclude and leave. It's like that.
So, but like as you said, as we talked before the episode and stuff, कि भाई what does a client need before coming to you except money?
See, the acceptance of knowing that he does not know is what is very important, and that is the reason that he is coming to us. So the awareness that, okay, fine, I don't know something, to know that is very, very important, that the client needs to understand throughout the project. बीच में से ही एक्सपर्ट ओपिनियंस जब आना चालू हो जाता है, तभी वो सब दिक्कतें आ जाती है कि मेरे फूफा के चाची के जीजा जी ने हमको ये कहा है, उनका एक रेस्टोरेंट है टिम्बकटू में, तो ये करो आप. तो अभी उसको मैं क्या आंसर दूं? नहीं दे सकता. ठीक है, मैं सीख के आ जाता हूँ. थैंक यू वेरी मच. सिंपल.
Except for that, like what are the ये होना चाहिए, and thus it can work. Like in my case, Pune University, if I want to take out the whomsoever wala certificate, I need to have convocation, I need to have passing certificate, first year degree, third last year degree, 10वीं certificate, 12वीं certificate, something like that.
बरोबर. So a client needs to have the passion for the industry. Second, the money that is needed to establish and then sustain the entire association and the project, and be a vision.
And not think that it is simple.
Yeah, and a vision of why he is entering the business. So we are like ticket counters. You come to us, you ask to give you a ticket. We first ask, where do you want to reach?
Okay.
You tell us which destination you want to go. I will issue the ticket accordingly. Most of the times, people don't know what destination they want to reach. So then we have to sit down with them, counsel them, make them understand. First of all, understand what is there in their mind in terms of what do they think a restaurant business is all about. Then making them understand, if you do a project, it will cost this much, this is how it will be, this is the sustainability and the entire dynamics. If you do B concept, then it will cost this, and so on and so forth. So once they are clear about what they want, then we issue them a ticket. And then they ride the bus with us. It's like
how much is money is required?
Very, very subjective. Very subjective. एका टपरीपासून ते एका क्लबपर्यंत the variation is too high. म्हणजे 10 लाख सुद्धा खूप कमी आहेत आणि 10 कोटी पण खूप जास्ती आहेत. सॉरी 10 लाख पण खूप जास्ती आहेत आणि 10 कोटी पण खूप कमी आहेत. Depends on how and which way you want to go.
So if suppose client comes with a concept, let's say, is having a concept enough?
No.
Like you people do conceptualization as well, right?
So conceptualization is the most important part
first
of
we'll do one thing. How does consultancy processes work, and then we'll get to this. How client thing happen? Like if having a concept is good or not. How does a consultancy work?
How does a consultancy work? In which way are you asking?
No, how? Let's consider I'm coming with you as like a client and you are my consultant. All right. So let's consider I have a concept XYZ, like being vegan. Let's say I have that concept. I have my menu and all of that. I don't even have a menu. You told me you people decide the menu as well. So how I come with you, I join. What happens after that in consultancy?
So in consultancy, let's say you approach us, we get an inquiry from a referral, or somebody has visited some of our projects. People usually ask, and then we have good relation. As I said, I never burn the bridges. So usually, even when we have concluded with the projects, the clients still recommend us. That means definitely we have done something right in the entire association, and that's why they keep on recommending. So our majorly business comes from recommendations, and also and also we do go out and do our sales in terms of whatever requirements are there. We do go and pitch ourselves as well. But as I said, majorly it comes through recommendations. म्हणजे डॉक्टरला ऑब्व्हियसली तुमच्या मामानी त्या डॉक्टरकडे जाऊन इलाज केला आणि त्याला गुण आला की तो 100% ज्याला आजारपण असतं त्याला रेकमेंड करतो. सो इट्स लाईक दॅट. सो once the client approaches us, first of all we do a one-on-one meeting. What is it that you are requiring and what are your budgets? म्हणजे ॲज आय सेड, तुम्ही सांगा कुठल्या देशाने जायचं आहे, त्या देशाचं तुम्हाला मी तिकीट देतो. सो द फर्स्ट थिंग इज वी डू अ वन-on-one मीटिंग and understand their requirements of what exactly do they want. So first of all एक one-on-one meeting होता है. one-on-one meeting झाली की we understand what the client requirements are, what exactly he is thinking about. की कॅफे करायचा आहे का QSR बनवायचा आहे का कुठली एक्झिस्टिंग ब्रँडची फ्रँचायझी घ्यायची आहे का क्लब बनवायचा आहे. We have a lot of brands under our belt where we sell their franchises as well. So that is also one vertical which has been developed over a period of time, where people do approach us that आमचा existing restaurant आहे, आम्हाला आता त्यांच्या franchising करायचं आहे.
No. If I am a person, I am thinking of taking X restaurants franchising, let's consider. So
we do that work as well. Yeah. Provided that brand is willing to franchise.
Yeah.
So once the requirement is completely analyzed, then we share a scope of work. Scope of work म्हणजे असोसिएशन मध्ये काय करणार आहोत आम्ही. म्हणजे ब्रँड शोधण्यापासून काम करायचं आहे का ब्रँड एस्टॅब्लिश करायचा आहे. ब्रँड एस्टॅब्लिश करायचा आहे तर कॉन्सेप्ट पासून काम चालू होतं. मग कॉन्सेप्टमध्ये कुठली कॉन्सेप्ट करायची आहे, इंडियन करायची आहे, व्हीगन करायची आहे, चायनीज करायची आहे, अँड सो ऑन अँड सो फोर्थ.
सो लोकेशन एज वेल,
राईट फ्रॉम लोकेशन की एवढ्या बजेट. सो मेन इट बॉइल्स डाऊन टू व्हॉट बजेट्स आर द क्लायंट वर्किंग विथ. की 20 लाख रुपये आहेत आणि मला एक 100 सीटरचं रेस्टॉरंट ओपन करायचं आहे, तर ते शक्यच नसतं. मग आम्ही तेव्हा त्यांना तिथेच सांगतो की तुम्ही 20 लाख सुद्धा खर्च करू नका. इट इज लाईक पेनी वाईज पाऊंड फुलिश. अँड लॉट ऑफ प्रोजेक्ट्स वी डिनाय बिकॉज ऑफ द फॅक्ट दॅट द concept that what they want to do and the commercials do not match or do not sync with each other. की त्या पैशामध्ये ती कॉन्सेप्ट होऊच शकत नाही. म्हणजे मी कितीही पॅशनेट असो इंडस्ट्रीबद्दल आणि मी कितीही चांगला काय म्हणतात त्याला ऑपरेटर असो रेस्टॉरंटबद्दल, म्हणजे कसं आहे की मला कितीही चांगली गाडी येत असेल चालवायला आणि माझ्याकडे 15 लाख असतील आणि मला किती हवं असेल की मला मर्सिडीजच हवी आहे नवीनवाली, तर ते शक्यच नाही. कितीही काही करा की 15 लाखात तुम्हाला मर्सिडीज मिळणारच नाही आहे. सो तुम्हाला 15 लाखात काय मिळणार आहे, तुम्हाला एक मिड रेंज कार मिळू शकते. मग तसं करायची जर का इच्छा असेल तर आपण तसं एक्झिक्यूट करून देऊ शकतो. सो इट इज दॅट वे. म्हणजे 15 लाखात तुमचं QSR होऊ शकतं, पण इफ यू टॉकिंग अबाउट अ सिट डाऊन रेस्टॉरंट इज अ व्हेरी चॅलेंजिंग थिंग. इट विल नॉट बी पॉसिबल. कारण 15 लाख तुम्ही रेस्टॉरंटमध्ये लावल्यावर चालवण्यासाठी तुम्हाला पेट्रोल घालण्यासाठी पैसे लागणारच आहे. सो त्याच्यासाठी पण सस्टेनेबल प्रोव्हिजनल फंड्स जेव्हा आम्ही म्हणतो की डे 1 पासून तुमचा बिझनेस रोलिंग होणार नाही आहे, शॉर्टफॉल येणार आहेत. सो त्याच्यासाठी तुम्हाला फंड्स लागणार आहेत. सो जेव्हा आम्ही बजेट अलोकेशन्स करतो आणि बजेटिंग जेव्हा करतो तेव्हा या सगळ्या फॅक्टर्स आम्ही कन्सिडर करून करतो. लोक कसं करतात की 1 कोटी आहेत, मला रेस्टॉरंट ओपन करायचं, ते पूर्ण 1 कोटी ते रेस्टॉरंट ओपनिंगमध्ये घालून टाकतात आणि मग नंतर धंदा चालवण्यासाठी पैसाच ठेवत नाहीत. सो जेव्हा कोणी 1 कोटीचं बजेट घेऊन बसतं आमच्यासमोर, तेव्हा आम्ही 60 ते 70 लाखच स्पेंड करतो प्रोजेक्टमध्ये आणि 25 ते 30 लाख रुपये आम्ही प्रोव्हिजनल फंडिंग म्हणून हे बाजूला ठेवतो की त्याच्यातून पहिले 6 महिने तुमचा धंदा रोलिंग होईल आणि चालेल. कारण की सी एस्टॅब्लिशिंग अ रेस्टॉरंट इज वन पार्ट, बट running a restaurant is altogether different dynamics and different science altogether.
There is a series, Man in the High, the Man in the High Castle. Okay, in that there is a whole different scenario. Japan and Germany have won. So it's like there is a series of like rebellion going on. So the black communist rebellion, like the particular group, throw away Japan's government in the West Coast, and then the Japanese mafia is still there, right? So when they come encounter each other, that particular mafia boss says that it is one thing to throw away the government and another thing to run the government. So that is the thing.
तोच प्रॉब्लेम असतो की एस्टॅब्लिश करणं हा एक भाग असतो. सो आमचं प्रोजेक्ट कन्सल्टन्सी पण तसंच असते की वी कन्सल्ट अ प्रोजेक्ट टिल द एस्टॅब्लिशिंग लॉन्च ऑफ इट, and then depending on the client's requirement we sign a management contract of managing the restaurant or not managing the restaurant. So we are very fortunate enough that we have also have been consulting Shetties. So Shetties are considered to be the masters of this trade, and we have got an opportunity to consult and make a restaurant.
Would you like to share the name?
So Neer was one of the brand that we had made for a very seasoned restaurateur in the business. Yeah, that was a very good opportunity. So we established it and then we handed over, because Shetty ko aap restaurant chalana kya sikhaoge, but we still had the opportunity to make a restaurant for a Shetty. So which is a very good opportunity as a consultant, I feel.
So after having one-on-one meeting, what goes ahead? You have decided the concept, everything is fine.
Yeah, so once the meeting happens, when the concepts are clear, so we present 2-3 concepts to the client as per their budgets. After understanding their requirements and needs, we present them with a concept note of concept A, concept B, concept C, and then from there we of course with mutual understanding we boil down to one single concept, and then the work starts. So that is how then we sign off the contracts, advances are released by the client, and then we start the work. So then, right, if there is a requirement of looking for real estate or not, it is understood during the process.
But deciding the location and all of that also comes into the picture, right?
Yeah, so a lot of times people are like, we have shortlisted a location and now we want to do a restaurant over there. So over there, what happens is we get into the R&D of or the analysis of what that area particularly needs, and then from there we look at establishing the concept and then the execution of it.
So you can even tell people that yahan nahi chalega ye wala.
Yeah. So just 2 days back, I visited Hinjawadi. There is a building where somebody has bought the place. It is sold to him as a restaurant space, and at that spot nothing will work at least for next 4 to 5 years as a restaurant. That entire building is meant for restaurants as per the
client,
as per the the builder. He has made the entire building only for restaurants, but it is such a dead premise, and it is like that for past 4 years. And for next 4 to 5 years, there will not be any possibility of any establishment becoming successful over there.
Why?
Because that spot is in such a place that though it is in Hinjawadi, though it is a prime location, but still it is not a preferred place to go for restaurant or for a dining experience. Because restaurant is not only a restaurant. It is an experience that you have to create, and that infrastructure does not give anywhere an experience creation opportunity for the client. So that is where we clearly denied that don't do it. We are not doing it, but as a humble suggestion, don't do it yourself as well. Just rent out the property to somebody and they can do an office or something over there. So it's not a restaurant's place.
So now the client has got the concept. Now you have got the money and you have started. What happens?
So now, for example, again, I'll take the same client who we denied. Now the client has given a job to us that why don't you figure out a place for us? We are okay with the finances, and you find out a place for us, and then we'll do a restaurant over there together. So it is a trust is a very crucial and critical part of the entire consultancy business. So when we have trust on somebody, immediately that client blindly starts trusting us in a way that we are justifying what we are doing, and we are not taking him just for a ride. See, it is at the end of the day my business.
Yeah.
If the client has bought a real estate place and he's saying he wants to do a restaurant, why would I say no? It was very easy for me to हाँ ठीक है आपको करना मैं करके देता हूँ, but somewhere as a so in my company what happens is I'm a owner of a restaurant and I'm also a consultant.
Yeah.
So it's a very big profile for me in a way that I understand both the sides of the chair of the table.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting as a client also and sitting as a owner also.
So you have the experience of both.
So I am the owner and I am a consultant. So somebody is wanting to become a owner of a restaurant. So it is very important for me to make sure that he does not land up in a situation which he will regret later. So it's an honest and humble suggestion that we usually give, that if at all something is not going to be workable, don't do it. And if still the client insists, there have been incidences that we have did it and we have handed over.
Yeah.
And after 6 months, it gets shut. But then at the end of the day, we have to be very honest and still have to run the business. Yeah, so basically, as I said, me being an owner and being a restaurant consultant gives a very strong hand, or the association becomes very impactful because I understand both the sides of the coin.
Okay.
And that is where the client gets into benefit of it, and he gets a very wise decision on everything that he wants to do. So I'm not only a consultant. So सिर्फ ज्ञान बांटने वाला नहीं हूँ, मैं खुद का ज्ञान अप्लाई भी करता हूँ. So I'm practicing what I'm preaching. That's what I would put it as. It's not only just
बाण मारतोय.
अंधारात गोळ्या नाही झाडत आहे, मी पण चालवतोय, बंदूक मेरे पास भी है.
On the other side, so what do you do now?
It's literally, it's in my name.
Yeah. Gunbote.
Sad PJ.
Yeah. So like once the client comes in, how does the work start? You had told me the first trial, second trial, hiring and all of.
First trial, second trial फार पुढची गोष्ट असते. So I'll run you through the process. So let's say we sign a contract, and then the real estate is also been finalized.
From vegan estate you start. I want to build a vegan restaurant, let's say.
So let's say you want to build a vegan restaurant. Now we'll analyze the area that you want to shortlist in. आणि मग you obviously have given us a budget की प्रसाद या बजेटमध्ये आम्हाला एक vegan रेस्टॉरंट बनवायचं आहे. मग त्या बजेटमध्ये रेस्टॉरंट होऊ शकतं का कॅफे होऊ शकतं, इज व्हॉट वी नीड टू डिसाइड. सो त्या बजेट्स प्रमाणे आपण जागा आणि स्पॉट अनालाइज करायला लागतो. स्पॉट अनालाइज केल्यानंतर वी ॲक्टिवेट आर रिअल इस्टेट एजंट्स हू एव्हर आर देअर इन द मार्केट अँड हू नो हाऊ our requirements are in specific. So we start activating our networks, and slowly and steadily we start getting the inquiries or suggestions from the real estate brokers, and also we float an inquiry across the industry since we are in the networks. So we start getting the options for real estate. Once the real estate is finalized, we start getting involved, the architects, the interiors, according to the concept, we sit down. So we create a mood board ourselves. So once we create a mood board ourselves, then we start hiring, or giving options to the clients of either they can go and hire a service provider who's an architect or an interior guy, and we will work with them, or we have a lot of options over the period of time that we have built that they can discuss out with them also. And to be honest, after doing so many restaurants and so many clubs, we ourselves are having so much of understanding of what we want. So majority of the times what happens is we end up hiring only an interior decorator who will just integrate everything for us, because we are very clear about what we want. But yes, if something new has to happen, then definitely a good architect is somebody that we definitely look forward for and recommend the client accordingly. Then once we have our concept notes submitted to the architect in coordination with the client, the architect starts working on the concept note that we have submitted, the mood boards that we have submitted, and then the architect's work start. And once everything is okayed or finalized with the architect and the entire ideation of the thing, the project starts.
Okay.
When I say the project starts, means the execution of the project starts. All the other agencies like the carpenters, the plumbers, XYZ starts coming in. Once the project is at a stage where all the civil all the civil work is done, then we get into the designing part of the technical designing, like designing of a bar, designing of a kitchen layout, designing of a store. Accordingly, the backend services are executed, like the plumbing happens accordingly, the electrical happens accordingly, as per the drawings that we submit of the equipments. Because for example, your refrigerator is of a particular height and the switchboard is on the right side or the left side. Accordingly, those working drawings are being submitted to the executors, and then that backend work starts over there. Once that happens, parallelly we place orders for the equipments and the furniture and the fixtures. This all happens parallelly, so that we save on the time. So we always take a lot of time in planning. We do not desperately start आता जागा आली आणि rent free period आहे तर पटकन हे करून टाका. So we optimize the rent free period in a way where we think through the entire execution of it and then start the work, which saves the loss in the future. की हेस्टिली चालू केलं सगळं काम आणि मग प्रोजेक्टच्या मध्ये पोचल्यानंतर कळतं अरे नाही, ही भिंत इथं नव्हतीच, इथं नसायलाच पाहिजे होती, मग परत तोडा, परत करा, परत त्याच्यात जो खर्च आणि वेळ जातो. सो तुम्ही पैसे पण वेस्ट करता, वेळ पण वाया जातो आणि सीझन पण हातातनं घालवून बसता. सो त्यासाठी प्लॅनिंग स्टेज ही फार फार महत्त्वाची असते आणि तिथे सर्वात जास्ती वेळ जातो आमचा. की एकदा ते प्लॅनिंग प्रिसाइजली झालं की एव्हरीबडी इज क्लिअर अबाउट बाय वॉट डेट्स वी आर लुकिंग ॲट. That is how precisely we plan everything and execute it. Of course, there is a margin of error because we are working with humans. So, खूप काही challenges येतातच, that is part and parcel. But more or less, we have a 90-95% efficiency rate in opening or launching of a project right from start to end. That is how precisely we plan everything.
So planning is done then?
सो प्लॅनिंग झाल्यानंतर मग एक्झिक्युशन स्टार्ट होतं. एक्झिक्युशन स्टार्ट झाल्यानंतर तुमच्या बाकीचे बॅकएंड सर्व्हिसेस ॲक्टिवेट होतात आणि जसं जसं प्रोजेक्ट कम्प्लिशनला येताना दिसतं, आपण 1 महिन्याआधी, म्हणजे प्रोजेक्ट जर का 1 जूनला लॉन्च होणार आहे तर आपण एक्झॅक्टली 1 महिना आधी आपली कोर टीम हायर करायला चालू करतो. की प्रोजेक्ट मॅनेजर आहे किंवा जनरल मॅनेजर जो असतो, जो चालवणार आहे रेस्टॉरंट, सो दॅट ही गेट्स इन्क्लुडेड इन द एंड or rather integrated in the entire system of making the restaurant, so that he knows every corner, because he is going to be the head of the operations over there.
Yeah, cool.
So तशी आपली core team आपण hire करतो. So they मग त्यांचं काम चालू होतं.
General manager is like the executive main like not CEO but the CEO of the place at least.
Yes.
Hiring.
100%.
Yeah, of the restaurant.
सो जनरल मॅनेजर असतो, कोर टीम म्हटलं की तुमचं शेफ आला, जनरल मॅनेजर आला, बारवाला एक जण असतो. सो जर का बार असेल किंवा कॅफे असेल तर बरिस्ता असतो. सो हे 3-4 लोक जे आहेत ते कंपल्सरी आपण 1-1.5 महिना आधी हायर करतो. देन विदिन अ वीक्स टाइम वी स्टार्ट हायरिंग प्रोसेसेस अँड एव्हरीथिंग, आणि लोक बाय डिफॉल्ट यायलाच लागतात बिकॉज एव्हरीथिंग इज कनेक्टेड टू इच अदर. सो यू गेट दीज मेन बॉयज इन प्लेस, automatically the network starts working and you start hiring the team. Once the place is dust free, की तुमचं इंटिरियरचं काम सगळं झालेलं आहे, तुमचे फिक्चर्स लागलेले आहेत आणि फर्निचर आलेलं आहे, सो देन वी स्टार्ट डिझायनिंग द मेन्यू. सो डिझायनिंग द मेन्यू म्हणजे काय करतो आपण, की आपण एका कॉन्सेप्ट प्रमाणे आपण एक 200 डिशेस शॉर्टलिस्ट करतो. 200 डिशेसमध्ये शेफ आणि बाकीच्या टीमबरोबर बसून आपण एक बेसिक ट्रायल घेतो. बेसिक ट्रायल घेतल्यानंतर कळतं की काय कॅपॅसिटीज आहेत, काय नाही आहेत. मग त्या जॉनरप्रमाणे त्या 200 किटीमधनं आपण काय एक्झॅक्टली करायचं आहे, मग त्यातून आपण बॉईल डाऊन करत 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 10 स्टार्टर्स व्हेज, 10 स्टार्टर्स नॉनव्हेज. सो एका मोठ्या बँकमधनं आपण ते फिल्टर करत करत नॅरो डाऊन करून एक छान इनोव्हेटिव्ह आणि जस्टिफायबल मेन्यू बनवतो त्या पर्टिक्युलर आउटलेटसाठी. मग त्याचं आपण ट्रायल करतो. सो फर्स्ट ट्रायल करतो. फर्स्ट ट्रायलमध्ये यू एंड अप अंडरस्टँडिंग की हे असं नाही पाहिजे, हे तसं नाही पाहिजे, ह्याच्यात मीठ कमी पडले किंवा हे कॉम्बिनेशन बरोबर लागत नाही, पेपरवर तर छान वाटत होतं. सो ह्या सगळ्या गोष्टी काही गोष्टींमध्ये होतात. म्हणजे फर्स्ट ट्रायलमध्ये ॲटलिस्ट 50-60% पर्यंत मेन्यू फायनल होतो. मग आपण जे काही चेंजेस सांगितले असतात त्या पर्टिक्युलर ट्रायलमध्ये मग सेकंड ट्रायल करतो. सेकंड ट्रायल केल्यानंतर आपण थोडंसं अजून 20-25% पुढे जातो आणि मग फायनल ट्रायलला आपण पूर्ण मेन्यू फायनल करतो. म्हणजे एकदा थर्ड ट्रायल झाल्यानंतर आपण फायनल मेन्यू करतो आणि मग तो मेन्यू आपण डिझायनिंगला देतो. मग तो मेन्यू डिझायनिंगला गेल्यानंतर आपण आता एकदा फायनल झालेला मेन्यू असतो की मग त्याच्यावर तुमचं प्रोक्युरमेंट आपण फायनल करतो इन टर्म्स ऑफ शॉर्टलिस्टिंग ऑफ द वेंडर्स, की कुठल्या माणसाकडनं काय विकत घ्यायचं आहे, कसं घ्यायचं आहे, काय प्रायझिंगला घ्यायचं आहे. सो ह्या सगळ्या गोष्टी आपण इन्ग्रेडियंट्सवर फोकस करायला लागतो की प्रिसाइजली हा पर्टिक्युलर ब्रँड हवा आहे, हा नको आहे. सो ह्या सगळ्या गोष्टी चालू होतात त्यातनं. मग ह्या गोष्टी चालू झाल्यानंतर आपण एकदा फायनल ट्रायल झाली आहे. सो एकदा फायनल ट्रायल झालं की मग आपण वी स्टार्ट कॉलिंग द नियर अँड डिअर वन्स, की एकदा त्यांचे आपले ट्रायल्स फायनल झाल्यानंतर आपण पब्लिक ओपिनियन घ्यायला लागतो. पब्लिक ओपिनियन म्हणजे आपले नियर अँड डिअर वन्स हू आर नॉलेजेबल अबाउट द फूड इंडस्ट्री or who are very knowledgeable about what a particular dish should taste like. So we start inviting a lot of friends and families who are aware of that particular cuisine, or industry people, we fellow colleagues in our network,
and who will also give honest feedback.
Who would honestly give us a feedback that हे बरोबर आम्हाला खूप भारी वाटत होतं ते करताना, पण हे पर्टिक्युलरली क्लायंटेलला आवडतंय की नाही हे समजण्यासाठी आपण मग सॉफ्ट लॉन्च म्हणतो त्याला, की आपण त्याच्यात वी कीप ऑन इन्व्हायटिंग पीपल आणि फूड ट्रायल्स करत असतो. आणि त्याच्यात होतं काय की टीमचं पॉलिशिंग होत राहतं त्याच्यात, अगेन अँड अगेन डिशिंग आउट द सेम प्रोडक्ट आणि या सगळ्या गोष्टी. सो त्या सगळ्या गोष्टी आपण करत राहतो. अँड वन्स दॅट इज डन, देन वी डू like there are a couple of ways of launching a project. So काही लोक बिग लॉन्च करतात, सेलिब्रिटीला बोलवतात आणि हे करतात. काही लोक लॉन्च एक महिनाभर लॉन्च करत राहतात, की इन्स्टेड ऑफ डुईंग अ बिग बँग लॉन्च you start the business and keep on inviting people so that it looks busier every day.
Okay.
You keep on inviting 10 guests from my network, from your network, from the owner's network. तसं एक पद्धत आहे लॉन्च करण्याची. मग मीडिया कव्हरेजेस असतात त्या आपण फॅसिलिटेट करतो. सो वी ऑल्सो गेट इन टू द ब्रँडिंग अँड डिझायनिंग. वी हॅव आवर ओन कंपनी, ब्रेनस्टॉर्म मीडिया हाऊस म्हणून आहे, where we do a lot of designing and branding work
for hotel specific.
For restaurants business, that company is a complete separate company where we do designing and branding work. So be it restaurants business, or be it colleges, or be it industries, or be it any company who needs branding and marketing happens under that.
Okay.
So basically, it's a complete ecosystem of whatever is needed for a restaurant. We also do uniform manufacturing. So we provide uniforms also. So त्याच्यासाठी स्टुडिओ 105 म्हणून एक फर्म आहे आमची, ज्याच्यात आम्ही फक्त क्लोथ्स डिझाईन करतो. अगेन दॅट वी सप्लाय टू अ लॉट ऑफ अदर बिझनेसेस ऑल्सो, नॉट ओनली रेस्टॉरंट स्पेसिफिक, पण युनिफॉर्म्स सगळ्यांनाच लागतात. स्कूल्सपासून कॉलेजेसपासून सगळ्यांना युनिफॉर्म्स असतात. तर आपण ते पण काम करतो.
So after
So a client does not need to go anywhere when he comes to us in terms of
Most aspects, I would say.
most of the aspects, or you would say 99% of the aspects are taken care of.
So that is done. So once like when you people are done with your work, then there is a last thing which remains is, do you want to continue? But after that you have told me.
सो प्रोजेक्ट आपण अशा पद्धतीने साईन करतो की लॉन्च पर्यंत प्रोजेक्ट असतं, की त्याला आम्ही प्रोजेक्ट कॉन्ट्रॅक्ट म्हणतो. लॉन्च झाल्यानंतर आपण एक 30 दिवसाचं हँड होल्डिंग करतो क्लायंट बरोबर. ते दॅट इज इन्क्लुडेड इन द प्रोजेक्ट. आणि मग लॉन्च झाल्यानंतर आपण हँड होल्डिंग केल्यानंतर द क्लायंट इज फ्री टू डिसाइड वेदर ही वॉन्ट्स टू कंटिन्यू विथ द मॅनेजमेंट सर्व्हिसेस, or he is well equipped enough that he can run the show by himself. And as and when needed, as and when required, की बाबा मेन्यू अपग्रेड करायचा आहे, स्पेशल्स घ्यायचे आहेत, किंवा काही प्रॉब्लेम झालेला आहे, so he can again approach us. We come there, do the work of 10-15 days, and again hand it over. So it is all a very flexible contract of management. As and when needed, that can also happen. But most of the times, bigger projects usually want to retain us on a monthly basis for the management services as well, and that also we do.
So what if suppose a client comes in to work along with the consultancy, what are the non-negotiables?
Non-negotiables असं काहीच नाहीये.
Okay.
की everything is negotiable in the business.
In this business now.
Because it is a given that it will be negotiated. That's why every aspect of the thing is negotiated and workable.
What are the common mistakes people make in this?
In
Let's consider in
management
restaurant business.
So restaurant business मध्ये particularly when I would talk about consultancy, की एकदा सगळं सुरळीत चाललं आणि सगळं होतंय, दिसतंय चांगलं होतं ना, दॅट इज वेअर द कॉमन मिस्टेक हॅपन्स दॅट द क्लायंट थिंक्स दॅट आता होऊ शकतं माझ्याकडनं, आणि आता कन्सल्टन्सची गरज नाही आहे किंवा सर्व्हिसेसची मला गरज नाही आहे. आणि मग त्यावेळेस काय होतं की मग ते काही ना काहीतरी काय म्हणतात आपण, मग टुकार करणं म्हणतो ना, त्याच्यावरनं काही ना काहीतरी ते इश्यू करायला चालू होतं. आणि त्याच वेळेस आम्हाला आता एवढा अनुभव आला आहे की ही आता तशी त्या दिशेने जाय लागलेली आहे कंपनी. सो माइट एज वेल वी एन्काउंटर दॅट, वी कन्फ्रंट इट अँड वी कन्क्लूड इट, और वी make him understand if you want to do it this way, we can help you in that way also. It is not a hard and fast rule that you have to continue. So जरी तुम्ही कॉन्ट्रॅक्ट साईन केला असेल, किती काही असेल तरी, it is at the end of the day, as I said, trust is the most important factor in the business. If you don't have trust on my services and just because of a piece of paper we are associated and you want to continue the services, it is not a healthy atmosphere for you or me. And I prefer being peaceful rather than getting irritated every time that we are going to see each other. So you keep your intellect, I'll keep my peace. It is like that. And that is how we discontinue the services, and that is the most common mistake that people end up doing, that just because everything looks smooth, they don't understand that what is going in the back end to make it smooth. आणि मग ते अरे मग ह्याचे पैसे कशाला द्यायचे, आता काही होतच नाही आहे, सगळं आता सुरळीत चाललंय. अँड द डे वी विड्रॉ सर्व्हिसेस, ऑटोमॅटिकली एव्हरीथिंग स्टार्ट्स क्रम्बलिंग डाऊन.
House of cards.
So yeah, house of cards, as you rightly said. But it is human nature, I would say.
Yeah.
And that is the sad part of it, I guess.
But how does exactly finances work in this case? Like, let's consider a restaurant is to be run profitably. How are the finances? What are the म्हणजे आकडे कसे दिसतात, काय दिसलं पाहिजे, काय असलं पाहिजे?
See, in simple terms, I would say money burn industry आहे. You have to burn money. There is no two ways about it. and with the current scenario of rentals being so booming, your sustainability is the most important factor. So finances, as I said, you have to have your provisional funding, that even if you have to fund the project for 6 months or a year or 1.5 year, it is completely your call whether you want to take that journey or not. And that is where, when we start the initial process of counseling, that is where we make them understand that these are the things. There are projects that have picked up from day one, and there is no looking back. There are projects which haven't picked up for 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, and still you have to keep on putting money. So it's a money burning industry. Your break evens to kick in, it is at least a 15 to 16 months journey. So all these preparations needs to be there as far as the commercials are concerned. And making a brand is always a 1000 days journey. It's a proven track record that if you have started something, you stay put for 1000 days. And if you are not willing to put in that 1000 days, whatever it is, don't start the journey. So don't assume that things will go only upwards. They can go downwards also. And also, every time there is a success does not mean that things are going upwards.
Okay, cool.
It's a very fine line. Just because it looks busy does not mean that the restaurant is successful. There are a lot of permutations, combinations that goes in the back end. We know I know how a restaurant is shitting bricks, even with the crowd there. Because what has happened is, in the past you have एक खूप मोठा खड्डा झालेला असतो आणि मग तो बिझनेस होत असतो आणि लोकांना वाटतं अरे वा काय मस्त बिझनेस चालू आहे, पण त्यांना हे कळत नसतो की मागे किती मोठा खड्डा आहे. सो बिझनेस जरी होत असेल तरी तो मागचा खड्डा बुजवत बसायला लागतो.
अच्छा, like you're burning money.
See, as I said, money burn industry आपण म्हणतो.
But I didn't get this. Like the restaurant is busy.
I'll get to that. So let's say your project cost is 1 crore आणि तुम्हाला सस्टेन करण्यासाठी वरती 25-30 लाख रुपये लागणार आहेत. 25-30 लाखात आपण काय करतो की तुमचं पहिले 4-5 महिन्याचं भाडं, सॅलरीज आणि तुमचे MSCBचे बिल्स, हे तुम्ही तेवढं प्रोव्हिजन करून ठेवायचे. आता तुमचं 1 कोटी तुम्ही लावणार होतात प्रोजेक्टमध्ये, तुम्ही लावले फक्त 60 लाख रुपये. ठीक आहे, 40 लाख रुपये तुमच्या प्रोजेक्टचे अजून पेंडिंग आहेत पेमेंट करणं. रेस्टॉरंट चालू होतं, यू स्टार्ट सीइंग द रेव्हेन्यूज. मग तुम्ही कॅपिटल इन्व्हेस्टमेंटचे पैसे ऑपरेशन्सच्या पैशातनं द्यायला लागता. धंद्यातनं काढून तुम्ही पैसे तुमच्या कॅपिटलमध्ये टाकता. पण तुम्ही काय लावलं, 1 कोटीचं प्रोजेक्ट होतं, तुम्ही दिलेत फक्त 60 लाख रुपये. तुम्ही 40 लाख रुपये तुमच्या ऑपरेशन्समधनं काढून तुम्ही कॅपिटलमध्ये टाकताय, म्हणजे तुमचे ऑपरेशन्स सफर होणार. मग ऑपरेशन्स सफर होत आहेत की तुमचे सॅलरीज डिले झाले, सॅलरीज डिले झाले की तुमचे स्टाफ अपसेट होतो, स्टाफ अपसेट झाला की तो निघून जातो किंवा क्वालिटीमध्ये हॅम्पर होतं. मग जरी गर्दी येत असेल आणि जरा पैसा रोलिंग असेल तिकडनं, पण तुम्ही तो पैसा जर का तुम्ही त्या पर्पजसाठी वापरला नाही, आणि इफ यू यूज इट टू क्लोज युअर अदर एक्सपेन्सेस, that is a biggest mistake that people are doing in the business. And the reason for most of the restaurants to shut is that people don't end up closing on their capital expenses, and they use the operational funds to close their capital expenses. आणि तिथेच तो गॅप जो तयार होतो. मग जरी रेस्टॉरंट बिझी असेल तरी तुम्ही मागे खूप मोठा खड्डा खणून ठेवलाय. सो तुम्ही इकडनं पैसे घेताना त्या खड्ड्यात टाकत बसलाय. ते जोपर्यंत फ्लॅट व्हायला पाहिजे तोपर्यंत पूर्ण सगळं डायनॅमिक्स बिघडलेले असतात. मग तुमचा एम्प्लॉई सोडून गेला, तुमची क्वालिटी हॅम्पर होते. क्वालिटी हॅम्पर झाली की तुमचं क्लायंटल,
काय म्हणतो ना आपण त्याला,
इट्स अ रेसिपी फॉर डिझास्टर. सो तुमचा क्लायंट हॅम्पर झाला की तुमची गर्दी कमी होते, गर्दी कमी व्हायला लागली की तुमचे रेव्हेन्यूज कमी होणार, रेव्हेन्यू कमी झाला की परत एक दुसरा हा नवीन खड्डा होतो. हा बुजवण्याच्या नंतर तुम्ही अजून एक खड्डा करून ठेवता. So don't make the road rough for your own journey.
Okay.
Rather than take an express highway and reach your destination. That is where drivers like us are there to help you drive the car smoothly.
No.
But just because you have a short patch which is smoother, you don't think that entire journey is going to be smooth, na? It's like that.
Now let's consider there are investors in this scenario. Mag kai? Like
Investors
I am a
in the
client,
scenario.
I have a concept. I have an investor as well. You are how's the scenario now? How do the dynamics?
So the dynamics is we deal with the client and not with the investors. सो आम्हाला इन्व्हेस्टर्सची तुम्ही पैसे कुठनं घेताय, बँकेकडनं घेताय का स्वतःचे आहेत तुमच्याकडे, का तुम्ही इन्व्हेस्टरकडनं बोरो करताय. वी गिव्ह देम अ वर्किंग ऑफ हाऊ युअर मनी इज देअर, तुमचे रिटर्न ऑन इन्व्हेस्टमेंट्स कशी येतील, काय प्रोजेक्शन्स असतात, ते सगळं आपण वर्किंग करून देतो. प्रोजेक्ट फाईल बनवून देतो आपण त्यांना, सो दॅट दे कॅन शो इट टू द इन्व्हेस्टर्स की ही कॉन्सेप्ट आहे, ह्याच्यासाठी एवढे पैसे लागणार आहेत, ह्याचा ROI असा आहे, ह्याचा इबिटा एवढा आहे.
ROI म्हणजे रिटर्न ऑन
इन्व्हेस्टमेंट.
अबिटा म्हणतात.
इबिटा इज अर्निंग बिफोर टॅक्सेशन अँड डेप्रिसिएशन. सो त्या सगळ्या गोष्टी आहेत, त्या सगळ्या इन्व्हेस्टरला जे काही रेकॉर्ड्स लागतात, जे काही गोष्टी लागतात, जे काही फायलिंग लागतात, ते सगळं आपण क्लायंटला मदत करतो. बट वी आर नॉट आन्सरेबल टू द इन्व्हेस्टर, वी आर आन्सरेबल टू द क्लायंट. Raising the funds is the client's risk. It is nothing to do with the consultant coming into the picture. We will guide the clientele as to how much money he can raise, from where he can raise, and we can facilitate everything. But we would not be in a position to take a risk or being answerable.
Yeah. So, but this happens, everything goes fine. So, what makes a good restaurant in all of this? What would you say? Yeah, this is a good restaurant. Everything is fine. Everything, no? म्हणजे अगदी staff पासून सगळं.
See, staff pass, it completely boils down to the kind of culture that you want to develop. Once your culture is good, and so माझं personal opinion, if you ask me what makes my restaurant successful, because माझा एक प्रिन्सिपल आहे that I take care of my colleagues, I take care of my employees, I treat them like a family. If I keep them happy, they themselves are going to take care of the business. And I always believe in giving onus of what they are doing, making them responsible for whatever they are doing and answerable for whatever they are doing. So what happens is they become very responsible. अरे ही माझी जबाबदारी आहे, त्यामुळं it becomes a very good working atmosphere. It becomes a very go-to place for the employees. अरे नहीं आज काम पे जाना है, और अरे यार काम पे जाना है.
There is a difference.
Same sentence, but there is a difference and huge difference. So I always try and make a culture in the in the unit where it is a very homely atmosphere, and where the staff is very happy to come to work, and that will eventually flow down in the service, eventually flow down in your drinks, and eventually the happiness comes through the food. So the taste of it, if somebody is cooking with a pleasant mind, without any stress and without any hassle, obviously your food will generate that. You cook with a good heart and good mind, you would serve love.
Yeah.
And who would not want to be loved? So that is what is my personal
that would make
opinion.
A good restaurant.
That would make a good restaurant. Of course, the technicalities stay where they are. Good ambience, good food, good drinks are the three key principles of the entire restaurant. But all these things are at the end of the day delivered by humans.
Yeah.
So how you take care of your entire team and your colleagues is the most critical part of the entire ecosystem, I would say.
How important is ambience? Like
100%.
today, I know like a lot of people.
See, at the end of the day, you are not going to see. It is a food and beverage industry.
People pleasing industry as well.
People are missing out on the point that it is a food and beverage industry, and the food and the drinks are the most important part of the industry. Then comes your ambience.
Okay.
But people end up spending crores on the interiors, but they shy off from paying good salaries to the chef, which is again the most common mistake that people do. Means you are not shying off from paying huge amounts to the architect who has done the place, and that is not even your product. People are not going to eat your interiors. एकदा येतील, दोनदा येतील, तीनदा येतील ambience साठी. बट तुमचं जर का फूड आणि ड्रिंक्स बरोबर नसतील तर तुम्ही कसं काय सर्व्हाइव्ह करणार आहे? तुम्ही फूड अँड बेवरेज इंडस्ट्रीमध्ये, तुम्ही इंटिरियरच्या बिझनेसमध्ये थोडी आहात. So ambience, creating an ambience, yes, it is a very, very critical part of the entire restaurant business. But having said that, people should understand by now that you need to pay good salaries so that you get good people to work for you. You pay peanuts, you'll get monkeys. It's a very legendary saying. You pay good money, you will get good human beings to work, skilled laborers to work. So, that is again a very important part. You need to hire good staff and you need to pay them good salaries.
But now let's consider everything is fine. I paid good to my chef as well. Okay, this is one of the very common. Everyone might have this question. Anyone who is watching, what if the chef leaves?
It's a part and parcel of the industry. As I had mentioned earlier, it is the most, the attrition rate is very high in the industry. So even if the chef leaves, it is our job to replace them and make sure that the show goes on. So it's like that.
But I'll tell you an example, okay? So I live in Siddhiraj right now. Siddhiraj जवळच तिथे ना एक टोसाची गाडी. So that guy was from UP or Bihar, I don't know who was used to make that. He left. He closed the Gada.
बरोबर. सो तो फॉर्मॅट वेगळा असतो. दॅट्स अ मॉम अँड पॉप शॉप. वेन आय से मॉम अँड पॉप शॉप, की जो बनवतोय तोच ओनर असतो आणि तोच कामगार पण असतो. सो तो एक फॉर्मॅटच वेगळा असतो. जर का तो ओनर आजारी पडला तर आज तुम्हाला डोसा नाही मिळणार, किंवा त्यांनी कुठला भैया ठेवला असेल कामाला तर, आणि जर का त्याला येत नसेल डोसा करता त्या ओनरला, आणि जर का भैयाच्या भरोश्यावर त्यांनी केलं असेल तर तुम्हाला जोपर्यंत दुसरा भैया मिळणार नाही तोपर्यंत तुम्ही नाही सर्व करू शकणार, विच इज अ व्हेरी कॉमन थिंग आय वुड से.
ओके सो
मोठ्या ऑर्गनायझेशन्स मध्ये युजली अशा गोष्टी घडत नाहीत, बिकॉज ॲट अ सिनियर लेवल यू पे सॅलरीज to professionals, and when professionals gets involved, you usually end up doing a lot of documentation work. You usually sign a contract and then hire people at the senior level.
Now you are into the consultancy business over a decade almost, you say. So you and I had discussed this before की बाबा केव्हा येतात लोक तुमच्याकडे, जेव्हा टेकलेले असतात मरायला.
That is another headache, that अरे you come to us when you are thinking of starting a restaurant.
No. You come to us when you have सर्दी खोकला itself.
Exactly. तुम्हाला कॅन्सर झाल्यानंतर ना काही थर्ड स्टेजला, त्यावेळेस मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम्स नाही करू शकत, कारण की त्यांच्याकडे बजेट उरलेले नसतात. बी दे एक्सपेक्ट एव्हरीथिंग ॲट अ हायली डिस्काउंटेड प्राइस बिकॉज दे आर इन टू ट्रबल. मीन्स इट इज नॉट अ चॅरिटी ॲट द एंड ऑफ द डे. वी हॅव टू रन आवर ओन बिझनेस. आम्ही वेळ विकतो. Our currency is what we are selling is our time. And as I said, it's an intangible thing. Along with services. आणि वेळेचं महत्व हा, for me, my time is money.
Okay.
And clients take it for granted, which should not be the way things should work. And
so what do
if they are expecting to get everything at a X price, it is not possible, कारण की त्यांच्याकडे बजेट्सच राहिलेले नसतात. So we usually, if you have the budgets, we will work. If you don't have the budgets, we will guide you to people who can work in those budgets. See, after a certain period of time, it is always a choice whom you want to work with and whom you don't want to work with, at what cost you want to work at and what cost you don't want to work at. So, but there are a lot of beginners who will work at that cost, no? सो क्लायंटचं काम ॲट द एंड ऑफ द डे झालं पाहिजे. तो आपल्याकडे काही अपेक्षाने आलेला असतो, काही गोष्टी ऐकून आलेला असतो आपल्याबद्दल. सो दॅट इज वेअर वी एंड अप हेल्पिंग दॅम. वी डोंट श्रग ऑफ, बिकॉज ॲज आय सेड, आय अंडरस्टँड वॉट दे आर वॉन्टिंग, आय अंडरस्टँड देअर सिच्युएशन्स. सो कुठेतरी ते यू हॅव टू पुट युअर फूट डाऊन की नाही करू शकत, यू हॅव टू पे दिस, देन ओनली इट कॅन हॅपन, ऑर आय कॅन रेकमेंड यू समबडी हू विल डू इट फॉर यू इन दॅट बजेट्स. सो हे आम्ही नाही करू शकणार, कोणीतरी दुसरं करू शकतो.
2 stories where one has come to you and you had said no, and one has come to you and you have taken it from there. Like एक बॉलला 6 पाहिजे आणि मारलाय.
फार रेअरली होतं असं. Can't honestly recollect, कारण की majority of the times we let go the project. कारण की after a while I have decided not to work at an X price and I would not want to go down to that price. त्यामुळे आत्ताच्या स्टेजला when I'm getting a lot of business through referrals and through the network, I have made up my mind or that I don't want to work with a particular amounts basically. And I boldly say that I'm expensive because I deliver quality. As quality havi aseil तर we are there. I'm not saying that others are not doing quality. Don't catch me in the words. But as I said, it is माझे charges हे आहेत, माझे वेळेचे पैसे एवढे आहेत. I would do that or not do that. It depends on the project. असे पण प्रोजेक्ट्स आहेत की जिथे आम्ही चार्ज पण नाही केलेलं.
Okay.
Why? Because the project was very interesting. The project was very challenging. आम्हाला काहीतरी शिकायला मिळणार
I come
आहे.
up with such an idea.
सो अशा पण गोष्टी आहेत की जिथे आम्ही चार्ज नाही केलेलं, कारण की तो मित्र असतो किंवा त्याला चालू करायचं असतं. सो आम्ही करून देतो. सो
Any tricks, hacks, do's and don'ts for people entering this industry? First, my side. If suppose you're hiring a consultancy, don't tell them how to do their work. I have learned this.
Good one. Yeah. I think that summarizes everything.
Like I have.
If you have hired somebody for a particular service, means don't go and tell the doctor how to operate.
असं इंजेक्शन दे.
असं इंजेक्शन देऊ की हा असं बायपास करा, तसं नका करू. तुम्ही डॉक्टरकडे गेले आहात कारण की त्याला माहिती आहे ते कसं करायचं. सो यू डोंट टीच द डॉक्टर फ्रॉम युअर गुगल नॉलेज दॅट हे ऑपरेशन असं असतं आणि हे मेडिसिनचं असं असतं. ही इज अ डॉक्टर ना. डोंट गिव्ह हिम गुगल का ज्ञान.
Anything else? Yeah.
So,
do's and don'ts and hacks and trips. Sir.
So do's and don'ts, I would say that always think through of what exactly you want to do and why you entering the industry. A lot of IT people, are passionate about that lunchbox convo. यार अपना कुछ करना है और क्या करना है, तो 10 में से 9 लोगों को रेस्टोरेंट खोलना रहता है. तो
I have heard this from 2 people, huh? Same thing. Yeah.
से कुछ करना है. अरे कुछ करना है यानी ठीक है, पर रेस्टोरेंट्स का देयर आर अ लॉट ऑफ अदर थिंग्स दैट यू कैन थिंक अबाउट. एज आई सेड, इट्स अ वेरी ग्लैमरस इंडस्ट्री.
Yeah.
So just because you want to do something, don't immediately jump on a conclusion. Think through. That is where people like us are available to analyze everything and whether you should enter the industry or not, or just put your money into some investments that will give you sensible returns. If you are passionate about the industry, then only enter the industry, because restaurant industry is a passion driven industry.
All right.
You need to have deep pockets to sustain the business when things are not going the way they have been planned.
You need to have patience.
You have to have a lot of patience. And not get distracted with small hurdles that come in the process. As I said, 1000 days you have to stay put. जे काय अडचणी येणार आहे, जे काय कंप्लेंट्स येणार आहे, जे काय. सो युजली क्लायंट्स गेट डिस्ट्रॅक्ट. अरे ही कंप्लेंट आली, मग कसं करायचं, अरे हा रिव्ह्यू गेला, कसं करायचं. इट्स पार्ट अँड प्रोसेस. जिथे पॉझिटिव्ह रिव्ह्यूज आहेत तिथे निगेटिव्ह असलेच पाहिजे. यू कॅनॉट सॅटिस्फाय एव्हरीथिंग. ॲब्सोल्युटली. सो हाऊ वुड यू टॅकल अ सिच्युएशन वेअर पीपल आर ड्रिंकिंग पाण्याची बॉटल ओपन करून प्यायलेत आणि मग नंतर मध्ये आम्हाला माहितीच होतं चार्जेबल आहे. इट्स अ पॅकेज ड्रिंकिंग वॉटर, प्राइस टॅग आहे. मग आता अजून दीज आर इश्यूज दॅट यू कॅन नॉट हँडल. यू हॅव टू लेट गो.
And how has your experience helped in this? We have done an episode before also. You have told that you have worked in a lot of restaurants and stuff. How that experience has helped you?
It's a day-to-day experience यार. मैं honestly speaking आता अशा लोकांना काय समजवणार ना तुम्ही, की तुम्ही ऑप्शन आहे ना रेग्युलर पाण्याचं, पण तुम्ही मिनरल वॉटर प्यायल्यानंतर जर का म्हणताय की आम्ही अज्युम केलं की हे कारण त्याला फ्री पाहिजे, ह्याला काही
No,
उत्तर
no,
नाही देऊ
not
शकत.
here. I'm talking about how your experiences helped in building a consultancy.
See, that is what my consultancy is all about. Is all about my experience. So, as I said, I do travel. I do look at a lot of options, or I study a lot of new formats which are coming in. And that is where I keep on learning new and new things. As I said, I end up doing projects just for my learning. I don't charge anything because I have not done that before. So how would I justify the charges? But yes, there are certain technical things that we know, so we charge for that, and we don't charge for the entire project as such. So it's an ongoing process. Consultancy is an ever-ending process. You have to keep on learning, and you have to keep on enhancing your knowledge day in and day out.
And the last thing, like two things. One is like you have learned this much. So you opened this consultancy of yours with XYZ people initially?
No,
or like
initially
alone?
I started solo.
No.
Then
You
in the
started
lockdown,
telling people with all of your knowledge which you had.
yeah. So earlier I was like somebody who was pillowfying Gyan, just in simple terms, but very genuine and very honest about the profession. Having the subject knowledge, I did justify what I was charging people for.
Okay.
Then slowly and steadily, as and when I got to know a lot of things about the industry through the growing phase and the process, I started establishing slowly and steadily company form ke liye. I started hiring people.
What's the name of the company?
So it's a very interesting story. So J216 Hospitality Services. J is John, 21, and there are two dots in my logo. Is to 6. So it's a scripture from Bible. John 21 is to 6. I'm a believer in Christ. So that is where it's a biblical word. So John 21 is to 6.
What is that scripture?
So lower your nets on the right side of the boat and you will catch some. And they obeyed and they lowered the nets and they caught so much of fish that their nets broke. And they had to call for help to gather the blessings that they have got. So it is a short story in the Bible. Definitely people should go and read about it.
Okay.
And that is how my company's name come.
And the last thing is like, how is today's hospitality market, restaurant industry?
Very interesting, very growing, very challenging, very exciting, I would say.
Be specific about all of this, like how it is interesting, how it is challenging.
So interesting because there are a lot of people who are traveling. Because travel has increased, it has become more and more exciting because new concepts can be established in the market. If you would have asked 10 years back or 5 years back what is a vegan concept, people wouldn't know the term vegan. So because of that, there are a lot of interesting aspects coming to the restaurants business. There are a lot of different cuisines which are being tried, and which are in some or the other form coming into existence, which we had just seen on the television or heard about it. But now you have the options of going and trying it. For example, a sushi. A sushi was 10 years back
only
a
Ninja
very
only Ninja Authority. At least for us.
Okay. So that's what but now the ease of availability that a sushi is available in a cafe also today. So that is what is evolving, and that is what it makes it more exciting. That what next? How can a butter chicken be sold in a better way today? It's a classic dish.
That is the challenge, right?
Yeah. So how you make yourself new is what is the challenge. That everybody is claiming to have the best of the bars, the best of the cocktails, the best of the mixologist on board. But at the end of the day, if your food is not doing justice, I sell the best pizza, I sell the best kebab. So everybody is claiming that, but how do you sustain and how do you make a difference in the most competitive market space? That how can my chicken kebab taste better than yours, and what is more that you're going to add
that will help you go up today?
100%.
Okay, so that is
and with God's grace, that is what our struggle is always, that what more twist we can do to the classics, or how better can a LIT be made, or how good a tandoori chicken can be made, and be offered to the guest, so that the guest comes back for that particular product.
So it is not saturated, right, yet? Or like I would say, it has...
Yes and no.
Okay. Yeah.
Because if you say, is it saturated?
For some aspects it is.
Not really. I won't say it is saturated. There is definitely an oversupply in particular areas, in a particular city. But I would not say restaurant industry is saturated. It's an ever-growing market.
So today you need to be innovative, and that will be one of your steps to go up, right? In that.
You have to be innovative. See, there is never ever that people are going to stop eating.
Yeah.
Or people are going to stop drinking.
Yeah.
So it is a industry that will never die.
Yeah. True. Yeah.
It is only how you sustain is the game.
Okay, thank
Sir
you.
salam to pagdi hajar. Simple.
Yeah. Okay, sir. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for sharing the knowledge.
Thank you.
Yeah. Let's see if I have
I
an
hope
idea.
this helps
Yeah,
a lot of people who are ambitious about
Coming
entering the industry, or wanting to start a restaurant.
Yeah.
We are there to help them out, and definitely would like to connect
Yeah.
again.
Yeah. On the last, I just end this on one thing. Kunal had told me this while this podcast. It is very easy to enter this industry, but very hard to sustain.
100%. That's what I said. That just making a restaurant is one thing, but sustaining the restaurant is another thing altogether.
Yeah.
So you have to keep on evolving. You have to keep on giving better and better things every day to the guest. Every day is a new day in the restaurant's business.
You are as good as your last customer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
We'll
you.
see
Thank
soon
you.
again.
Thank you.